Hello, welcome back to a much overdue video from DCS Debrief. We'll start again as usual with a standard disclaimer. I'm not a fighter pilot. These presentations are not authoritative. They're information inferred from my own experience in real aviation where it's relevant, directly referenced official but open source literature, and anecdotal information from former fighter pilots. It's presented for critique and to add to the overall body of information on the topic of air combat and simulation games like DCS, and like many tactics, techniques and procedures, application differs in key areas between the game and real life, and as such these presentations are only relevant to the game. I hope you enjoy it. So we left off 6 months ago talking about offensive BFM problems, and now we're going to discuss how to bring it all together in the context of offensive BFM. So you know all the techniques necessary to enter and maintain within the control zone, but success is going to depend on putting these elements together and reducing time to kill. To do this, you'll need to be able to estimate your relative advantage and maneuver appropriately to exploit the optimum killing opportunity by employing the most suitable weapon. The aim of this video is to explain the technical considerations and visual cues to enable you to assess the progress of the fight and your priorities. By the end of this video, you should understand the AIM-9 mic and M61A1 missile and gun envelopes and how they influence BFM, how to estimate your relative energy advantage to select the optimum killing point, and how to maintain pressure on the Bandit and continuously limit their defensive options. The most effective defense for a Bandit caught with you in their 6 o'clock will be to break into you, initiating a 2-circle fight. So this video will not discuss 1 circle or high angle of attack or slow speed regimes, as these are assumed to have been either the result of gross BFM errors or a conscious choice from a neutral merge. The tenets that I use when I'm engaged in BFM from an offensive position allow me to distill my priorities and focus decision making. They are: 1. Get to the control zone and stay there. 2. Prevent the Bandit from building energy, and 3. Kill as soon as you can, but recognise when follow-on is the better option. We've only really discussed the gun so far, but it's vital to understand how more complex weapons influence both your decisions and those of the Bandit. The AIM-9 Lima and mic are ideal for teaching the foundations of short-range missile employment so that the advantages of more advanced short-range missiles can be better understood later. The same techniques as for the gun envelope can be used to achieve a missile shot, but the envelope capabilities and limitations of short-range missiles are important to understand, as is their effect on how a Bandit may choose to defend themselves. The AIM-9 mic envelope extends from between 1 to 3 nautical miles head-on, down to the stern envelope from 2 miles all the way into 2,000 feet. Several factors inherent in short-range missiles change the dynamic of basic fighter maneuvers. Firstly, extension and bug denial. Missile range makes it much harder to bug out from anything other than a high-speed, high-aspect, close-in pass. The missile's range and high-aspect capability make an extension and turn back exceptionally risky. 2. Minimum range. Missiles require time to guide and fuse and so have a minimum range. Keeping the fight within this range may deny missile shots, increasing time to kill. 3. Evasion. High turn rates are required to defeat missiles, so evasive pilots will put whatever energy they have into generating turn rate, which bleeds their energy dramatically. Finally, guidance. Missiles must be fired within a limited envelope, but they require less flying finesse to achieve that envelope than does the gun. And if missiles fuse, even close misses can be lethal. The first 2 considerations in combination mean that Bandits are likely to try to keep the fight as close in as possible. This may influence a Bandit's decision to try to force a 1-circle flow. While even a defeated missile shot will dramatically deplete the Bandit's energy and leave them vulnerable to follow-on, this follow-on must be possible. However, all missile shots should be taken with the intent to hit, never as insurance against BFM errors. If missile probability kill is unacceptably low, prioritise good follow-on BFM to achieve the envelope and then employ. A missile fired purely to force a manoeuvre is likely well out of envelope and therefore more easily defeated and unlikely to provide good follow-on options. In the same vein, don't forego a valid missile shot in favour of a follow-on to gun kill. The main benefit of missiles is the size of their envelope. They increase the fighter's options and reduce those of the Bandit. The progress of BFM from an offensive starting position is a continuum of BFM problems and killing opportunities. The fighter must maintain pressure with renewed attacks in order to beat down the Bandit's energy, but each attack can easily become an error if it is well defended against. The more that fuselages are aligned, the greater the threat of an overshoot or a kill, so the fight becomes a game of energy excursions, redefinitions and pursuit curves. If the fighter slips back around the circle, the fight will become more of a rate war. The first problem is the Bandit's initial defensive break turn. As the fighter makes an energy excursion into a weapon envelope, the Bandit must defend. They have 3 general options. Firstly, they can simply respond with an energy excursion of their own to hold your nose off. This is only ever a temporary solution. Lag back to the control zone and wait for misaligned turn circles. It will be essential for the Bandit to descend to keep their energy up, and the fight will spiral down to the deck. Secondly, the Bandit is likely to tighten down the circle by dropping their nose to maximise their rate. This is indicated by a marked increase in their angle of bank and nose down position. Deal with this in the same way as their defensive break. Drive to the departure point and carry out an offensive break turn at the attack window. If you nail the follow, then the Bandit will be clearly below the horizon but not buried and should be stable in the canopy. Keep the pressure on until the deck becomes a factor. If you are early at the attack window, the Bandit will be easily pulled forward in your canopy and will appear closer to the horizon. If this continues, you will need to solve more angles at the deck and will have less of an altitude advantage to do so. You also risk an in-close flight path overshoot. Resolve this by easing up your pull to stabilise the Bandit in the canopy or make it an aggressive lag manoeuvre. If in doubt, set the lift vector slightly above the Bandit and resume the pull. If you are late to the attack window, the Bandit will move aft in the canopy and will appear further below the horizon. They are outrating you. Recognise the risk that you will arrive at the deck across the circle and neutral. Resolve this by resetting the lift vector slightly above the Bandit and following to the deck. Do not attempt to low yo-yo, as you will give up your altitude advantage. The upside is that they will arrive at the deck first. Some Bandits may opt for a purely vertical nose-low defence. Drive to the point of departure while climbing if you can to create turning room. Make a good attack window entry again and match Bandit plane of manoeuvre to the deck. Be prepared to use throttle and speed brakes if required to prevent an overshoot. Keeping the fight to circle will keep your advantage with excess energy granted by your altitude. A prolonged descent to the deck can be frustrating for the fighter. Be prepared to punish any Bandit errors immediately, but also be prepared to wait for the deck to get your next opportunity. Concentrate on a good follow and keep up pressure to arrive at the deck with an advantage. Typically, the first to arrive at the deck will be at a disadvantage. Take a sensible enough margin against the deck that you're not distracted from fighting the Bandit, but don't allow them excess energy by being too conservative. If the Bandit leaves turning room below during their transition to a flat fight at the deck, exploit it immediately, reset in the control zone and wait for an opportunity for an energy excursion. The Bandit may still have energy, so don't rush. With no room below, an energy excursion will be the Bandit's only defensive option. If it keeps them out of reach, lag back to the control zone and keep the pressure on to decay their energy while maintaining yours. A low yo-yo is obviously out of the question, so don't let yourself get aft of the control zone. The Bandit can't tighten down, so with pressure on them, their energy should be depleted before yours. A big part of the skill in BFM is being able to accurately interpret how much energy the Bandit has in relation to you. This includes speed and height difference, and it will take time to learn. One useful benchmark is angle of attack. Aircraft at high angle of attack are typically bleeding more energy than at low angle of attack. If the Bandit has streamers coming off the wingtips, then it's safe to assume that they have a healthy energy state and likely have vertical turning performance. Once the vapour is over the upper wing or the fuselage, they are at high angle of attack and may be limited. However, remember the Bandit's strengths and weaknesses. A Hornet or Mirage might still be able to threaten you by moving their nose. Only practice will improve your skill in BFM, but don't try to run before you can walk. It's a good idea to start in a low performance aircraft against a similar type so that options are reduced and things happen at a rate that you can assimilate. Use TacView to evaluate your errors and then build in complexity. Fly against somebody who has the skill to help you develop and can manipulate the situation to suit your learning objectives. Learn to use basic all-aspect infrared missiles before you progress. This will teach you the fundamentals that you will need to know in order to effectively use higher off-bore sight weapons later. Don't limit yourself to training guns only either. Vary the scenario. Fight in a jet with external tanks and infrared missiles. It will enable you to make much better decisions about whether to stay or bug out. If a kill doesn't come at the top of the fight, you're likely fighting an opponent that will be capable of making you wait until the deck, so be prepared to wait. Don't rush to get a kill in the descent and risk an overshoot. Remember that the offensive fighter has the option to escape at almost any time. Those options evaporate very quickly, even if you become neutral, let alone if you find yourself defensive. So practice making good decisions to bug out when you start to lose the advantage. The next video will cover how to efficiently generate the setups that you can use to train these techniques against a human opponent, and then we'll be into the next series on defensive BFM. Thanks very much for watching. I hope to see you back soon.